This is the moment millions of Algerians have been waiting for. Algeria's President Abdelaziz Bouteflika resigned from office on Tuesday, bowing down to growing calls for his departure. Days before his resignation, Algeria's army chief backed the demands of the protesters for the president's exit and urged his impeachment on health grounds. Bouteflika has been Algeria's president for 20 years, but has rarely been seen in public in the past 6 years. Unable to walk since 2013, Bouteflika has been routinely hospitalized over the past few years. But despite his ill health, his party announced on February 10th that he was their candidate for 5th term. Bouteflika's decision to run for a 5th term has triggered mass protests across the country. So who is Bouteflika, and why is his candidacy so controversial? Bouteflika was born in 1937. He was active in the Algerian struggle for independence from France. He joined Algeria's current ruling party, the National Liberation Front, in the 1950s and served as an officer in the National Liberation Army. After Algeria's independence in 1962, Bouteflika served in multiple ministerial positions, including Minister of Foreign Affairs and Minister of Interior. He is one of the main political figures of post-independence Algeria. He spent several years in self-imposed exile in the 1980s due to corruption charges that were later dropped. Bouteflika was elected as president in 1999, after 6 of his 7 rivals withdrew on the eve of the elections, alleging fraud. He took office when Algeria was still under the weight of a civil war between government forces and armed groups. The war began in 1992 and ended in 2002. During the 10 years, more than 150,000 people were killed. Bouteflika promised to stop the bloodshed and restore stability. Shortly after being elected, Bouteflika signed a law pardoning thousands of members of armed groups who were also involved in Algeria's civil war. Although a number of agreements and legislations helped curb the conflict, it took years for the violence to die out. During Bouteflika's presidency, Algerians enjoyed a period of stability and relative prosperity, despite the occasional flare-ups of violence. In 2008, Bouteflika amended the constitution and removed the 2-term limit a year before his term limit was up. Following the Arab Spring, President Bouteflika promised reforms and granted freedoms when major protests over food prices and unemployment broke out. In February 2011, he lifted a 19-year-old state of emergency, a key demand of anti-government protesters. And the protests faded out eventually. Algeria is a major oil and gas exporter, but falling oil prices have impacted the country's economy. The government has tried to adjust to the new economic challenges by removing some subsidies, which has resulted in the rise in prices of all goods. This, along with Bouteflika's ill health, has stoked doubt about his ability to govern. But people close to Bouteflika disagree.
لا ما تكلموش عن الصحة نتاع الرئيس. شكون راه يخدم؟ شكون راه يستخبر؟ شكون راه أين على الشيطان؟
Algeria's ruling party is emphasizing the legacy of the past to promote Bouteflika as a savior of the country.
لقد ذاق الشعب ويلات خلال العشرية السوداء، وإنه لن يقبل أن يرجع بالبلاد إلى الوراء في زمن القتل والتدمير وسفك الدماء. لا وألف لا، لا وألف لا، وهذا عهد المجاهد عبدالعزيز بوتفليقة.
Continuity was a slogan used by Algeria's ruling party to endorse Bouteflika. But after bowing down to public pressure, will the ruling party that's been governing Algeria since its independence give up on power?